There is just the second half of this season to go. And that means we hit crunch time. We hit Opportunity Central, and now it's about booking your place. Who will find themselves at Ferrari World Yas Island Abu Dhabi? Who will book themselves into the grand final? Well, your first opportunity to see that is right here with us. We find ourselves only a stone's throw away from the Shenandoah River as we are in West Virginia at Summit Point Raceway, and we're here with you with your Ferrari HP Esports Series. I'm Jake Sperry, that's Nina J. Paul, along with me for the ride. Nina, one championship week in the books, 3 races down, just the 3 races to go. And this is where you get that tension build, and these drivers need to find that extra level to get those 2 qualifying places.
Absolutely. Hello, everyone, and welcome back. It's lovely to be here with you, Jake, for what is set to be a really exciting round here at Summit Point. If you remember last time, Cody Deeth actually went 3 for 3 wins on track. He's a bit of a naughty boy, picked up a few penalties, which means the standings here today are wide open. It's anyone's game.
Oh, it absolutely is. And when you've got a wide open plane and opportunities to score those points, you do have to play within the bounds of the rules. And that's where drivers are maybe going to be falling foul. But this is a circuit that, when it comes to iRacing, Nina, is a circuit which is part of the free content pack when you go on to iRacing, which means every driver who starts and plays iRacing knows this like the back of their hand. So do you feel that this is a more level playing field today, seeing as everyone's got the opportunity to say, we can go this quick on this circuit and unlimited time to practice?
I mean, it's a wonderful track, isn't it? Twisty corners, long straights. Lest we forget, it's quite narrow, Jake. So I think there's going to be some chaos. I think there's going to be some carnage, and there's so much to play for.
There absolutely is. It's very much a club circuit in the United States, Summit Point Raceway. It's one of those tracks where a lot of people look at to try and learn and develop their skills, and it's got pretty much everything that you want out there in terms of testing the drivers, especially up in the middle sector of the lap. So we're going to get this opportunity to say, well, how difficult is it? And you look at what they've had to go through to get to this point. Now is the all-important run, because they know that they want to be one of the top 5 from their APAC region to get themselves qualified. 2 here coming through from iRacing.
Absolutely. It's so excited. I mean, we've got so much to play for. The nervous energy is bubbling. Who's your money on, Jake?
Well, you can't look past Cody Deeth when it comes to the iRacing that he has, which is effectively your rank when it comes to iRacing. He sits at 10,800 on the iRating. It works very much like a chess ELO, which means that he stands in a very, very unique club. I believe only Maximilian Benecke has been able to hit 11,000 on the road. So Cody Deeth is, simply put, an elite racer when it comes to all of this. But we will see how that will go with the likes of Thomas Wilson and Sotomuto, proving that they've got a lot to work with. This is how they'll be racing here today. So it's a 3-race structure that they've got back to back to back. So they will go through qualifying. They've got that grid which is decided by qualifying, but then wherever you finish in race 1 sets race 2. Wherever you finish in race 2 sets race 3. And that really does prioritize, Nina, getting a consistent finish.
Yeah, it's important not to go out all guns blazing in race 1, because then you could really ruin it for yourself for race 2 and 3 and have a lot of work to do. So it's about staying calm, keeping those nerves at bay, Jake, and really keeping your head down.
It absolutely is, and we will be seeing all of that nerve come into play. There's naturally going to be nerves when you're talking about championships, and especially if you want to get to December 5th, Ferrari World Yas Island Abu Dhabi. That is a huge place. Here are your regions then. So this is where we're at. We're at the APAC region here today. You got the EMEA region, of course, which is Africa and Europe, and then the Americas region, which pretty much ends the season outright. So you've got that look today of trying to qualify here from the Americas and from the Asian and Australasia section of this qualifying. And there are some amazing races that you talk about that come from that Asian and Australasian continents out there. And this is what I love about the Ferrari HP Esports Series. It's truly one of the few esports series in the world that you can claim is a World Series.
Yes, exactly. And you know what, as Sebastian Vettel once said, Jake, everyone's a Ferrari fan. And if they're not, they are secretly deep down. So now individuals have the chance to take that fandom, compete on a world stage, like you said, for the chance of becoming that Ferrari HP Esports Series champion.
Look, everybody loves wearing Scuderia red. This is where we are, round 10. We're on the right-hand side of your screen. There'll be EMEA action coming along later on today, of course, here at Summit Point with the iRacing section. You've got the CEST Competizione, which will be heading to Silverstone, starting, of course, on the 2nd of October, which is Wednesday. And then, of course, the Nürburgring, which will prove to be the final bastion for those who are looking for all of their qualifying efforts in the Americas region. So that's what they've dealt with. Imola, of course, was certainly one challenge, but Summit Point, that comparison between the two, Nina, what do you think you take from a larger circuit and a more international circuit like Imola when you take it down to a club scene style circuit like Summit Point?
Oh, it's night and day, isn't it, Jake? I mean, even Cody Death, he put on a masterclass at Imola, picking up a couple of penalties. He still is at the top of the standings, even by being a little bit of a naughty boy. But he did say in his post-race interview, Summit Point should be fun, but it's a lot different from Imola. It's a bit more stop-start. Imola is free-flowing, it's wide, and he did say he prefers the free-flowing tracks more. So this circuit could be a bit of a bogey track for Cody Death. Who knows? It's all to play for.
It absolutely is. Qualifying, I think, will have just proved that. But let's take a look at what makes Summit Point the circuit that it is. It's got that long run over towards the opening corner, switches back on itself in towards turn 3. Be careful about that. And then, of course, you've got that very difficult carousel section, which has often been the point which does find those issues. That final corner, that diving turn, is going to be worth keeping in mind here today, because they will be trying to fly about and get what they can in the books through there. So you've got to look at how it's set up. It's all about that run, exiting the carousel, heading through the final corner, and unlocking the prime place to get the passes done today, which is down at turn number 1 here at Summit Point. So that's going to be worth keeping in the back of the mind as they go through. That's how they look. You'd say it's 4 at the top who have what they can say. So between Cody Death, Thomas Wilson, Sota Muto, and Caleb Hyde, those 4 really here, Nina, are sat down and saying, you know what? This is our time. This is our moment. They have all got a very strong shout of saying, we are on top when it comes to this compared to anybody else back there. Will Chen probably on a very big outside shot along with Dylan Su trying to make that place to qualify.
It's wide open, isn't it, Jake? It's so exciting to look at that. I mean, even Sota Muto, he had to do a couple of comeback drives in his last round after a strong initial showing for qualifying. His starts let him down last time, but he's naturally very quick. He has raw pace. So if he's put in the work and put in the hours, he's definitely a big threat.
He certainly is. Watch out for the paddock bend, the wagon bend, and of course that long carousel being important places. Bruce Long back there, the likes of Alistair McLeod and Jackie Chung, and the final driver, Deo Riccara Sakananda, they're holding on to 2 championship points. Everybody else unable to find scores that they have wanted. But D 3 points clear of Wilson, who's back in the pack. Muta at 4 points back. Caleb Hyde's at 5 points back. Anything is possible here today, and this is where it is all about the crunch. Who wants their place here today and book their golden ticket? Green flag in the air. Let's get 15 minutes on the clock and let's get racing. A nice clean start off the front then, and exactly what the doctor ordered then for Cody Death in the number 3 machine, who gets himself up to the point on the start. He had to be alert to it. Sorry, they're in the red, not the black, and he gets exactly what he wants. Caleb Hyde, seeing there that Sota Muto is in 2nd position and Hyde's in 3rd, will just sit and wait and look for that opportunity through the wagon turn. Everybody rushing about in single file for the moment because they know that this is going to be a patience track and time will be of the essence.
Great start from Cody Death. Perfect launch. Great second phase as well. No silly mistakes. Now he's just got to keep his head down, Jake, and just try and create some distance between him and Sota Muto. Because one thing about Sota Muto, he is fast and he will get up the back of him.
About mistakes and whether you can minimize them. Sota Muto is going to be cranking up the pressure. You can see on board with him right now as he rushes through that opening section of circuit towards turn 1. The yard markers then as marked by the coach, because they use yard markers in the United States and not necessarily meter boards out there, so they'll have 500 yards and 400, 300, 200, 100 by the time they hit the brakes, looking to try and get themselves all slowed down. You can see that Sota Muto has the fastest lap of the race. You saw that on your timing tower on the left-hand side. The purple mark indicating he's got that, and he is shadowing the back of Cody Death on the brakes. in towards the carousel section once again. He's not necessarily close enough to make a move. Like half a tenth improvement between the two, but Muto again continuing to shadow Cody Deeth, getting close in behind on the slipstream, going through the wagon turn, and now looking to attack. And you're starting to see there at the wagon turn how many drivers are running wide, and all of that gravel and dirt being dragged back across the circuit. Now that is going to make it slightly slipperier there over at turn 3, Nina. So when you sit down and you look at that circuit, they're going to be dealing with changing conditions on this track because of how much dirt is going to be dragged up from these drivers pushing the boundaries to the extreme.
In his post-race interview, Jake, in Imola, that he's very much got his eyes on Sotomuto. So I think he's come to this race very much prepared that he's going to be his biggest challenger.
Oh, and slightly wide goes Cody Deeth. They're dipping a couple in the gravel out of the final corner, and this lines up Sotomuto, who sits at a tenth of a second. Deeth moves to the middle of the circuit to defend, effectively over the road markings. Muto to the outside. Can he go up and under on the exit of 1 and 2 here and get that sorted? Answer's no. Cody Deeth doing just enough to cover that momentum, and this is one of the true momentum-based circuits out there. You make one mistake around here and it will follow you for 4, for 5, for 6 corners. To force Cody Deeth, a fantastic driver when it comes to iRacing here, into a mistake somewhere along this lap. So he's now trying to think, and look at this, he is absolutely hauling, moving to the inside. Deeth covers off the move at the latest possible moment there, and Sotomuto again being forced to the outside, and this is what he's trying to deal with. Where can he find the move? Cody Deeth has been there, he's seen it, he's done it all. He knows how late he can move across to make the defense happen.
Exactly. I think he wants to get up on that inside, but Cody Deeth keeps shutting the door because he knows that's his best way. Bruce Long knows what precious points, 6th place is, because it just means it gets him in a nice position to start the next race and hopefully make up some more points at the beginning. Oh my goodness me!
Wow, you can't get much closer there if you're Sotomuto. He pulled right up alongside, axle to axle as they went through, and we'll get a shadow of that with Long and Seymour. Bruce Long on the wrong side of the road, and Alexander Seymour down the inside gets the pass that he was so richly looking for and moves up into that 6th position. Lights on for Bruce Long. Oh, this might be the chance. Deeth's gone early to the middle of the circuit, tries to move across to break a little bit of toe, heading towards the opening corner, moves across for a second time to try and defend. To the outside, Sotomuto tries to throw it. He runs in a little bit deep there. You've got to try and stay on that newly paved little bit of tarmac there on the inside to be a little bit cautious on that line. That's the key where you've got to get it at turn 1. And again, he can't do that. And at the moment, it's a gallop for the line for Cody Deeth, because he will drive with enough momentum and he takes a 4th straight victory here in your Ferrari HP Esports series, and he had to work for that one. Absolutely. I think that we're going to be sat looking at this, and now you look at the championship gap. Cody Deeth now pulls that out to 11 points. Remember, we're running effectively a formula-style championship point system, so it's 25 points for the win. It is 18 points for second, it's 15 for third, and it's 12 for 4th position, and only 10 for Thomas Wilson, which means he now drops from 2nd to 4th. Is Thomas Wilson in a little bit of trouble? It doesn't look like he's got as much pace here over the course of today, Nina, than what he did at Imola, of course, a few weeks ago, if not a month ago.
Yeah, this track is quite different to Imola, so if you don't put the hours in, you don't put the work in, then it kind of does show. I mean, we had Nicholas Rubler from the Americas region. He said he practiced on Imola for 20 hours. 20 hours, Jake. And that's the kind of stuff it takes, because it showed. He came in and showed utter domination. So when you don't put the practice in, and if it is a bit of a bogey track for you, the results will reflect that.
I remember once upon a time a driver called Mac Backham had a 6-lap championship race, and he said he put 80 hours in at the Nürburgring Nordschleife to try and get himself prepared for that race, and all of that ended in about 5 corners for him, which just goes to show the level of dedication those have at the top of the sim racing tree to make sure that their craft, there are no mistakes out there. And this is one of the great things of why esports series and championships are being held all around the world almost all the time right now, Nina, because there is no greater platform than sim racing out there at the moment, and especially the Ferrari HP Esports series, to give and build an opportunity for drivers who can go out there and show their skills at a level which you couldn't do 20 years ago to the same vein.
Absolutely not. And, you know, we've heard in some of these drivers' post-race interviews, Jakes, that this winning the Ferrari HP Esports Series would be the biggest accolade of their career. And it speaks volumes for just the world stage that these drivers are performing on right now.
It absolutely is, and that world stage, of course, will be Ferrari World Yas Island, Abu Dhabi on December 5th. They are looking at that live final, which is going to be so wonderful, and that chance of a lifetime to put on Scuderia Red, to say that they are a Ferrari HP Esports driver. It is something that, to most people, Ferrari would be a dream attained by the few, and now there is this amazing ability to go out there and grab it, and all you've got to do is continue winning and qualifying and booking places.
Yeah, it's easier said than done a little bit, isn't it? All you've got to do is carry on winning.
So he'll be looking to get a good run. Cody Deeth, of course, will have control of the field, so he will go at the drop of the green flag, and it's all about predicting when that drop will be and how quickly you can get on the power from that point. Race 2 here of this one at Summit Point, round 5 of 6 in terms of this battling, and we're underway. Deeth with a pretty good launch, and Caleb Hyde might want to bring himself into this. Deeth trying to pinch over on Sotomuto so he can take the natural line through turn 1. He can't, so he's got to go a little bit narrow, and Muto has to open up the steering a little bit. Hyde has to get a little bit squirrely there as he leaves the corner, but Will Chen holds off Thomas Wilson for now, and it's Linus Stern through the top 5 once more. McLeod getting through on Bruce Long.
I bet Sotomuto will be slightly disappointed there. I bet he wanted to take him at the start just to make his life a little bit easier. Caleb Hyde's got a little bit punchy. I thought he was going to take second position then.
Well, I thought he had a great opportunity to do so, but the only thing he didn't have was the mid-corner speed, which allowed him that chance to go out there and attack and really gain that place. He was pinched when he tried to get drive off the exit. He'll want to try and get through as quickly as he can, and he has got a monster launch heading over towards the opening corner. Deeth, hard to the inside. Can Sotomuto find an angle out there on circuit? The answer to that is no. He will pinch over to the outside trying to get that launch. I wonder if he's got to be a little bit more coy with his tactics as he throws through. Deeth with a little bit of a wiggle though on the power, having to deal with slightly a little bit too much overspeed out there, some overspin of the wheels, and again having to defend. Just dipped 2 tyres into the gravel, desperate to keep that pace at 9/10 of a second. Muto with the fastest lap of the race, moving to the inside again. It's defended by Cody Deeth, and this is where Sotomuto is finding it so difficult, because every time he moves, Cody moves. It's very much like he's tried to overtake, but he is the shadow to Cody Deeth right now. He can't find any way of disrupting flow. 1 point on Sotomuto, so he's dropped 3 over that first race, so he's 4 points back. If he now drops a further 3 with where he is right now, it's 7, but he knows that if Sotomuto makes the move, his job becomes exponentially harder. Muto throwing the dummy, gets down the inside, and we've been waiting for that as a bit of contact. Muto gets turned.
Goodness me! Just about to say
beached.
Oh, he's beached. I was just about to say Sotomuto cannot afford to make any mistakes with where he is in the standings. Not get frustrated. He's done comeback drives before. He'll be able to do it again.
Well, you can see here, he knows the outside doesn't work. Deeth comes across to cover it, so he decides, I'm going to throw it down the inside. Deeth, perfect on the angle, holds the middle of the road, and effectively, it's just a case of Muto being unable to stop at the right time. Take a look from an aerial perspective as he runs on through. You can see middle of the road by Cody Deeth. He's used his defense. Straight down to the inside goes Sotomuto, and as he tries to get it slowed up, he just doesn't get enough. And the issue for Sotomuto is he was so desperate to get that car going again that he just climbed up the bank and effectively had the car bottom out in a very awkward position, and that's what cost him basically the race. It's there.
Part of the circuit for lap times. If you get the sequence just right there, you'll see improvement, and you really want to dance the car through turn 7 and 8, the S's. Don't add too much gas, just enjoy how the car glides. So I think he just has to get his head down. I don't think all hope is lost yet, Jake.
No, because he's pulled that gap down to 7/10 of a second. He's done really well using the slipstream along the front stretch. This is a smooth is fast style of car and driving, and he really goes aggressive through the wagon turn, running up over the boundaries there as he goes across the right-hand side curb. So for Thomas Wilson, he is really pushing. He is really hoping that he has got something in the back pocket that works for him, and that 4th position is the equivalent of 2 extra championship points in the back pocket, and you never know where you need 2 points in this series. It's up to Thomas Wilson to take it away from him.
It's definitely the closest battle on the grid right now, and they've got under a minute to go, Jake. Do you think Wilson's going to get him?
Well, that's going to be the question here, whether Alexander Seymour can just hold off, because that gap will close and close and close. And I think at turn one, it's going to be the real great opportunity to find that. Half a second then running through the long carousel. Shoot here, down the hill, right-hander, he's so aggressive as he tries to throw it in. Hard defense by Alexander Seymour, but this has opened it up for Thomas Wilson heading towards the stages. As this happens, Cody Deeth is making his way to the final corner right now. After being 4 from 4, he is proving that he is perfect at this moment. 5 straight wins. Cody Deeth is unstoppable at this moment in time. Hydes will be second. Will Chen will get a quiet third. Well, he'll need 12 points on Caleb Hyde. He's got the tiebreaker on him. So Thomas Wilson will move up to third then on 72 points. He needs 11 on Caleb Hyde to try and put himself up there. But if you're starting to count the points, you realise Cody Deeth is 32 points clear of Thomas Wilson. So unofficially, Cody Deeth has booked his place in the grand final of the Ferrari HP Esports series because, of course, we do know, and especially after Imola here, Nina, that penalty points will apply after the race.
Absolutely. It's not over until the stewards sing, Jake. So provisionally, he has booked his place to the grand final. Let's see if he's been a good boy this time and it holds up.
Well, we will certainly see that. Widow Sakananda there on 8 points. Jackie Chung on 6th, who's not here today. And you can see those drivers who have yet to find a point there of the 16 that are out there at this point. Alistair McLeod moving up to 9th place overall now in the championship. iRacing region, we are getting ourselves ready. So this is where it sits down, and it all comes down to this. Cody Deeth searching for perfection. Caleb Hyde's looking to book a ticket. 15 minutes to decide a fate. Who has got what they want? Green flag in the air, and look at a push 3 wide from about 3 rows back. What a start by Alistair McLeod as he tries to get through. There's contact. They're all going to go around. 1, 2, and 3. All they're caught up. A 4th will get involved in it. Muto somehow has avoided all of it.
So I bet he's smiling in behind the wheel there, Jake. He's just made up a bunch of places and made his day a little bit easier there. But what a bit of chaos to happen at the back of the grid. And you know what? I'm not surprised. It's the last race. It's all to play for.
Alistair McLeod tried to get the jump on everybody, catch a couple drivers napping 3 wide on the front stretch. Always difficult, and it has caught out number 5, Thomas Wilson, who was 3rd in the championship going into this final run, and his hopes now rest on a hope and a prayer.
So he needs to get on with it. There's not long. These are sprint race format styles, so he needs to get rid of Chen and then go after Hydes.
Yep, so this is all about dispatching, because he'll then have to close down the gap to Caleb Hyde, which sits currently at a 2nd, running through the carousel and now needing this S's section at about 155 kilometers an hour through here, up to 170, looking to put the power on the exit. Look at the run he gets. Now rushing towards the paddock turn. He has the inside at 223 on the brakes. Will Chen has to lift out of it and let Soto Muto through. Of the race, so he'll still be 9 points back. So there's the launch, trying to get that run, and he's stuck 2 tyres on the grass. He's jostling for position here, and he's at some point catches a bump out there on the grass, and that's the drama. And Soto Muto was so close to collecting there with Thomas Wilson. He just basically had to hit the brakes, effectively an indoor brake maneuver if ever you saw one, to try and hold it. You take a look from front on, and it really gives you a sense of how quickly an accident can unfold. You can see the bump, left, right, and look at that, it's dominoes.
Those 2 wheels on the grass was never going to work out, was it, Jake? Soto Muto did absolutely amazing to avoid that collision. Goodness me.
Well, let's take an on-board perspective here, see exactly what he's got. So there's the grass. You'll see the bump comes along just after the access road, and he gets on the brakes over to the left-hand side. It's not just the fact that he had to slow up for Thomas Wilson on the front, but Thomas Wilson had looped that car back around again and very nearly collected him on the rear as well.
Brilliant stuff. What would you do if you were Caleb Hyde, Jake? Would you, I don't know, would you fight it too hard, knowing that even if you finish 3rd, you'll provisionally go into the final?
I'd absolutely let him go. You know that there is no point fighting Sotomuto when you've got the maths in your favour. He moves over to the right-hand side and he lifted off the throttle, ladies and gentlemen. Caleb Hyde is playing the long game. He knows he doesn't have to fight Sotomuto. Muto is through into second with very little resistance.
Yeah, and I don't blame him because I would do exactly the same thing because mathematically, provisionally, I'm still going to the grand final. Now Sotomuto needs to get down and get Cody Deeth and see if there's anything
Still has a chance of getting through. The one driver who maybe doesn't here is Thomas Wilson down there in 8th place, just getting caught up. Wrong place, wrong time. This was not the week, Nina, to say it's not my week.
No, absolutely not. I bet he's kicking himself. But, you know, it's not all over. You can benefit from others' misfortunes ahead of you. So it's important just to keep your head in the game. Can we look at the gap between Chen and Hides? Over 5 seconds. Hides is sitting very pretty there, Jake.
Playing his instrument, so to speak, in his concerto of racing here at Summit Point. At 1.1, Deeth slowly is trying to turn the screw a little bit more, to up the pace slightly out there. He's probably been at 99% over the course of this race, and he knows he's trying to do just enough to reach sim racing perfection and go 6 from 6.
Yeah, absolutely. Under a minute to go as well now, Jake. So the pressure is on for Sotomuto. Can he get within a second? Can he get back up to the Cody Deeth? Let's see.
Him and his work, he knows he can't do anything more than what he's done, and he looks at Cody Deeth, who has done everything right here today, has simply been a cut above in this championship. 6 out of 6. It is pure perfection for Cody Deeth. He takes what he wants, and your final ticket in is Caleb Hyde, who now books his place in the grand final. He is now one of the December 5s.
What a brilliant round, brilliant racing. Sotomuto through the kitchen sink at Cody Deeth. And unfortunately, it didn't work out for him this time around. But like you say, there's no doubt he'll be back. And like we say, Caleb Hyde, Cody Deeth provisionally going to the grand final.
Unofficially then, this is the confirmation of your championship table, where Cody Deeth on 130 points has got himself what he wants. Caleb Hyde is through by 9 championship points, and there will be a big smile on both of those drivers' faces as they know their Ferrari HP Esports series will continue in December.
What a tone Cody Deeth set today. Absolute sheer dominance, pure masterclass. That first race, he had to work for it. That second race, it all went wrong for Sotomuto. And I think Sotomuto will be kicking himself because it was his to lose today, Jake.
It was. Sotomuto proved that he had the pace in race 1. He looked at can I beat Cody Deeth and did not think about the championship, and that is why he is on the outside looking in. But that is just racing, and that is what happens. Alistair McLeod will confirm 9th place with Dewa Wirasakananda, making sure that he moves up into the top 10 with no appearance today from Eric Hisao and Jackie Chung, who will be the final drivers scoring points in this championship, with the likes of Daniel Harris, Yilin Xie, and the like not being able to put themselves in on the board for scoring points. But if this is a precedent that we're seeing here right now, it's early days because we need to confirm every single place to go in. But my question to you, Nina, is Cody Deeth there with that performance proving that he is one of the favourites for this competition in December 5th?
Absolutely. I mean, I would not rule him out. He showed absolute dominance. And, you know, in the first round as well at Imola, even though, you know, he did get penalised and, you know, the points tallies changed, it doesn't matter. His performance on track sends a message to everyone else out there saying, I am a force to be reckoned with.
Well, he is a force, and Caleb Hyde, of course, didn't have necessarily the pace to match Cody Deeth for comparison, but what he did have was a consistent set of results. And when you put quicker and quicker drivers together and they go and they race and they get aggressive, it's someone like Caleb Hyde who picks up the scraps from the table, and that's why he's got a seat at the table, because he's just picked up the scraps.
I think he'll be absolutely buzzing about that, Jake. Of course, it's all provisional, but provisionally, he's going to Abu Dhabi, Ferrari World Yas Island for the grand final. What a great round. Fantastic battles, fantastic driving. There's been drama. I'm excited for the next race.
I absolutely am, and you can catch that later today as we move to the EMEA region and we decide which two are going to move through on the iRacing counterpart. On that, we'll be back at Summit Point here and getting all of that action across here with the Ferrari HP Esports Series. Want to give a massive thanks to everyone who's got it done, including Santander, Bitdefender, Thrustmaster, Richard Meal, and Next Level Racing here with the Ferrari HP Esports Series. That is the first of 2 places booked for a LAN Grand Final. Ferrari World, Yas Island, Abu Dhabi. You have your first 2 residents looking to try and find their championship place and their Ferrari HP Esports seat. It is going to be Cody Deeth and Caleb Hyde who find themselves in, but now the question is, who's next?